For coming. I believe we are live and ready to go. It's let's see, it's dark now and it's rather cold. Good evening, VG. Great to have you. Good evening, Gabriel, Manji. Good evening. How do I say that? I would say Jean in English, but Jean in Spanish. I don't know. Good evening, Camp Beauty. Perfect timing as always. Okay, we're going to continue tonight with what we were doing last week. If you remember, we were... That's better. So, good evening, Saif. Good evening, Haidayet. Good evening, Vladimir. Good evening, Valentine. Good evening, Shana. And good evening to all of you. It's wonderful that you're all here. Okay, let's see. We were looking at this thing. The sound cut out. I know, it's my bad. I've got a loose connection here. Good evening, Tomek. Okay. This is Jew. Okay, Jew. Thank you for telling me your name. Good evening, toy collector from Seville. Okay, we were looking at this article which is about why people find it difficult to say no. And they were looking at an experiment where they asked people to go and ask a stranger to get somebody to take them to a gym nearby. And they much easier than they thought. So, good evening, Autumn Smartphone as well. So, it's time to start. They would go out looking scared, yeah, because they've got to go and ask these people to help them. And sometimes a bit, type, kind, a sort of, a genre of angry that they had to do this, says Bohns. And they would return much earlier than expected and bounce back into the lab. So, good evening, Renyard. Good evening, Kate. Wonderful to have you both here as well. Okay, so sometimes, so Tomek goes for a sort of. Never say no. Yeah, you don't want to hurt any feelings. Hyderjet goes sort of. Valentine goes kind of. Okay, so we've got a split in ideas. So Manji goes for sort. Christmas Carol. I think probably God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. Gabriel goes a sort of. And Count Beauty goes kind of. So does Ronan. Good evening, Rai Kanisu. Thank you. Okay, I'm unfortunately I'm on my own. That's my daughter when she comes. So Jean goes for sort of. Vladimir goes for kind of. Okay, so yeah, yo, left, right. Great to see you. MD Saif goes for bit of. Magetta goes is A with sort and A with genre. No, you're fine, Alex. Don't worry about it. Your timing is good. So they are sometimes, the right answer here, a sort of angry. No. So Emin goes for bit of, they are sometimes bit of angry. And Manji goes for bit of as well. This is really interesting. None of you for... Okay, no, Abir has just arrived. He just says hello. Okay, that's great. Okay. Cutting out. So, that's interesting. So Jean says, would like a kind of. Abira goes for kind of. So let's see. A genre is normally for a film, for example. There are different genres. For example, of films, you can have a war film, or a comedy, or a romantic film. So sometimes kind of angry is what Jean says. Okay, or Jean says. Good evening, Adam. So a sort of angry, no. Sometimes bit of angry, no. Sometimes type of angry, no. It's... Can you hear me now, Magento? I hope so. Yeah, that's my bad, but I hope it's okay now. It's to do with my equipment here. So the right answer is kind of, yes? Yeah. So, and sometimes kind of angry. It's a bit informal. I would say, oh, your name's French. Okay, then I can call you Jean. That's fine. Okay. Okay, so there's and sometimes kind of angry. Yeah, kind of angry. Okay, yes, so it's definitely got to be kind of angry. Kick something in what's meaning. Okay, so it's, and sometimes kind of angry. This is informal, but it needs to be kind of. So sometimes they're kind of angry. 1-0. Okay, that's good, Ronan. Okay, so let's try the next one. It's coming up in a second, and I hope that cures the problem. I hope so. I might have to change something otherwise. Okay, so let's see. Yes, here we go with the next one. Good evening, Depti or Deepti. No, it's my bad. I promise you, Manji, it's my bad, and left or right. So, to test the phenomenon in a natural setting among a more diverse group of participants who were not university students, Bohns questioned people raising money for Leukaemia and Lymphoma Society. On average, the volunteers predicted that they'd need to ask around 210 people to meet their fundraising. That needs to be a D. Fundraiser finance goals are between $2,100 and $5,000. In reality, they were able to contact just 122 people to reach their target. So, a little angry. Yes, you could definitely say they're sometimes a little bit angry, but it needs the little bit. Yeah? Okay, a little bit. Notice in this, you can only use the ones as they go. Good evening, Chile. So, let's see. We got fundraising for left or right. Tomek goes for financing. Fundraising for Valentine Count Beauty. Good evening to you, Pepax. Great to have you. Manji goes for fundraising. So does Vladimir. So does Chile. Emin goes for financing. Abira for fundraising. Renyard for fundraising goals. Pepax. Gabriel. Deepti. And Jean goes for both fundraising and funding. And Magedo goes for finance. And Mandikan wonders about fundraising. Okay, so their fund goals, no, very definitely not. Yeah. A fund. What's a fund? Yeah, a fund is a place where you put money to do something. Ronan goes for fundraising, and so does Emin now. Okay, let's see. A fundraiser. This is either a person or an event, so it's not that easy. And Alex Dakabs goes for fundraising as well. To meet their finance goals. Well, here they're asking people to get money. I suppose finance goals works, but it's not very good. To meet their funding goals, I think funding would work as well, and is probably better than finance. But the best answer, good evening Paul, is fundraising. Because notice they have an objective, a current objectives. A beggar, as Leferite puts it. Good, I think the cutouts have stopped, that's better. Okay, so they're trying to reach their fundraising goals. I think their funding goals just about, and their finance goals, well, I suppose so, but definitely fundraising. So good evening, Theo. Okay, so we're going to move on to another one. Notice, a fund is where all the money's put. The fundraiser is the person. And the reason fundraising, because this is what they're doing. Yeah? Okay, so 1 out of 2, Mandican. So let's continue with the next one then. Avoiding awkwardness, avoiding difficulties. Wow, left or right's already off the mark. So it's easy to understand why Bohns and her colleagues were so excited about these initial results. Knowing about people's willingness, promptitude, obedience, submissiveness, compliance to help could give us more confidence when managing work projects, for example. So we got willingness for Leferite, willingness for Tomek, Count Beauty, Abira for Kate, for Manji, Valentine, Gabriel. Good evening vibes, for vibes as well. Yeah, okay, enjoy later. Nice to chat with you, Jean. Okay, Ronan goes for willingness and so does Misato. Yeah, and Pepax agrees as well, and Vladimir goes for willingness and so does Alex Decabs. And for Renyard and for Paul as well. Yeah. You're changing your inner Vitali. Yeah. Okay, Vitali isn't here tonight so far. Good evening, Sherwin. Willingness as well. Okay, and Mandican willingness. So I'm going to put you all out of your misery. Definitely willingness. Is this you want to do something? Promptitude says how soon somebody does it. So you should arrive with promptitude. Yeah, you should arrive a little bit early. So this is more like how quickly they say yes. No, I don't think promptitude works, Chili. Emin goes for willingness. Good evening, Naveen. Okay, obedience. Obedience is talking like reacting to an order. Yeah? VG will definitely come. He's been here, he's gone, and he'll probably come back in a bit, Pepax. So obedience, this is an order. Submissiveness. This is making yourself low. If somebody's submissive, you're giving in. Yes, VG's already reported in. Somebody who's submissive, yeah, they always give in. And here, compliance. About people's, if there wasn't to help, then compliance. Yeah, you comply with something. Yeah, so definitely their willingness to help. Yeah, so promptitude talks about how quickly they do it. Obedience is obeying an order, and this is a request. Submissiveness, well, maybe submissiveness, but without the to help. And compliance, without the to help as well. You comply. Gabriel is here. We just need Victor. That's a good pun. That's very good. Thank you, Manji. Okay, so let's keep going. And so, good evening, Sultan. A few years into the research, however, she decided to test whether we might also use our influence unrighteously, sinfully, faultily, unethically, without realizing how easily others would be governed, ruled, dominated, directed, swayed by our demands, or how uncomfortable they would feel saying no. Yeah. Okay, so when you don't know, the best thing to do is guess deep T. Yeah. Obedience from to obey, exactly. Obedience is from to obey. So left right's going for unethically and swayed. Pepak's for swayed. We've seen this word to sway quite a few times. And Pepak's also goes for unethically. Valentine for unethically, Roland for unethically, Count for unethically and dominated. Manji says unethically, Roland then goes for swayed. Vibes for unethically and dominated. Vladimir for unethically, Chile for unethically, Abira for unethically and governed. Yeah. Where's your cousin? I don't know. He's probably off doing something. Manji for swayed. You're not sure about the latter. Dominated. And, tough. So Sherwin goes for unethically and swayed. Paul goes for unethically and swayed. Vladimir goes for directed. And Rizzy goes for, So, okay, he's asking a question. Theo goes for governed. Okay, so I was swayed to choose for swayed as I saw it. It's a good idea to go with your gut feeling, Pepax, because all of you have very good English, and that means that your gut feelings about English are usually very good. So Chili goes for swayed, Jangit goes for unethically and dominated. Okay, so Deep T goes for governed. So, for the first one, I think this is quite easy, and I think almost everybody's gone for unethically. Yeah, so yes, if you use it faultily, you're using it in a wrong way, but you're not using it in the right way. This machine is faulty and sinfully. Sin is something that a church or religion defines, whereas our ethics are our own personal ethics, what is ethical and reasonable. And unrighteously, if somebody's unrighteous, they're unholy, so very definitely unethically. Now, this last one's causing a lot more problems. Good evening, Maria. Swayed for you. And Emin says directed. Okay, so without realizing how easily others would be governed, ruled, dominated, directed, or swayed. So let's talk about ruled, for example. Okay, so a king or a queen rules, or a judge rules to make a decision. Num faultily. Scared. Okay, so ruled, definitely not. So in this, do we think this is an order, or are we persuading someone? So how easily others would be directed. Directed, I suppose, but it's not very good. Let's see, I think probably governed is not a bad word, because other people are being governed by our demands, and that would work. Dominated by our demands. Dominated is something much more general. The lawyer dominated the conversation. Ronaldo dominated the match. Yeah, so I don't really like dominated, but for me the best one is swayed. S-W-A-Y-E-D. To sway somebody's opinion, to change it from one side to another, and that's the idea of sway. Yeah, can I sway you? Can I change your mind? Can I push you towards this? Persuade, exactly. That's to me, that's how to remember this word. I think governed also fits, but I think swayed is probably a much better word. Okay. Is somebody dominated by this? Dominated by our demands? No, I think 5-0 Ronan. Yes, you need a cup, very definitely. If somebody is continually having to say yes when they mean no, then they are dominated. But this is just in just one occasion, just one occasion. So, for one experiment, she gave participants fake library books. So they're not library books, but they say they're library books. The participants were asked to approach strangers with the following request. Hi, I'm trying to play a shenanigan, spoof, wisecrack, prank, charade on someone, but they know my handwriting. Will you just quickly write the word pickle on this page of this library book? Okay, so wow, we've already got prank for beauty, vibes, Gabriel, Misato, Ronan, Depti, Jagit, Vladimir, Valentine. Sherwin goes for shenanigan, and Maria and Manji for prank as well. Okay, so a charade. What's a charade? A charade is when you play or you pretend something is true. So maybe this whole thing is a charade, but you don't play a charade on someone. Okay, it's a TikTok challenge. I like that. And Renyard goes for prank, as well as Abira and Leferite. And Sultan goes for a charade. So a charade is where you give the impression of something, you copy something. Yeah, and I think the fake library book, saying it's a fake library book, is a charade, but that's not it. I'm trying to play a joke on someone. So let's see, shenanigan. Well, normally it's shenanigans. Sherwin. Shenanigans, doing something that's wrong, yeah? But you don't play a shenanigan. Normally somebody is up to shenanigans. They're doing something they shouldn't be, yeah? I can see the kids are up to some sort of shenanigans because they're much too quiet. A spoof is when you make a joke out of something. You copy it in a funny way. Yeah, so a film might be a spoof, a funny spoof of another film. A wisecrack is a clever comment, a clever and funny comment. Yeah. Wisecrack. Leferite is the king of the wisecracks. Yeah. Okay, but that's okay. Yeah. A wisecrack is like telling a joke or saying funny things. So, yeah, a prank is supposed to be friendly. Yes, Leferite. A prank is not serious. Yeah, a game when you imitate something and have to guess. That's charades, absolutely. Yeah, crocodile, says Pepax. So, to play a joke, to play a prank on someone. Yeah, a prank is like a practical joke. And this is the right answer. Yeah, so he's up to some sort of prank. 6-0 for Ronan, great. Okay, so to play a prank on somebody, putting a bucket of water on top of the door for the teacher is a prank. Yeah, a wisecrack is a funny comment. A spoof is when you copy something in a funny way. Yeah, shenanigans are doing something naughty, normally up to shenanigans. He's up to some shenanigans. And a charade, as in where you imitate something, yeah, and people think that it's the real thing. And like Vibe says, there's this game, charades, where you've got to mime, you can't speak, and show people convey to people the word that's on the card for you. Okay, so to play a prank on someone, a practical joke would be a good synonym for it. Okay, so let's continue. I'm actually just going to have a drink. So, Bohns suspected that very few people would agree, and the participants were similarly skeptical, so nobody's going to deface a book. But as with the questionnaire study, those predictions proved to be wrong. Despite lifting, rising, raising, advancing, arousing, gathering some objections, more than half the people that the participant approached agreed to commit the small act of vandalism. So let's see. Okay, so let's see. Pepax goes for raising. A prank is like a trick. Yes, it's a practical joke. Vladimir goes for raising. Vibes goes for raising. Gabriel goes for raising. So Jagged goes for raising. Count Beauty goes for raising as well. It's good to have you here, Deepti. Yeah, this is a good class. This is. Sherwin goes for raising. Sultan goes for raising. Maria, Ronan. Okay, everybody's going for raising. Notice, and Abira and Deepti as well, and Renyard. So notice the clue here is an objection. And Leferite as well, and Renyard, to raise an objection. This is the collocation. Raising, yeah? Raise it, so they're raising an objection. Good evening, Anna G. Great to have you here. Okay, so to lift an objection, no, it's to raise an objection. Also notice rising, something rises. To rise is intransitive, so it can't be. To raise an objection. To advance, it could work, but it's not the collocation. You could advance a suggestion, for example. May I suggest to propose? Yeah, and that's to advance. It doesn't work very well. Raising is much better. Arousing suspicions. And to gather means to collect. Okay, good evening, part 4. You're quite right. Pranks can go wrong, and then you get in trouble left or right. Okay, part 4 goes for gathering. So the right answer here is to raise an objection. To arouse. Well, to arouse means to excite. Yeah, you could arouse suspicion. So to arouse is to stimulate, because somebody can become sexually aroused as well. Whereas to raise an objection is to say, hey, yeah. I think that if you arouse, normally you arouse suspicion, yeah. You arouse jealousy, and it slowly grows, yeah. And the collocation as well, to raise somebody's what was the word? I've lost it now. To raise objection, to raise an objection, very definitely. Don't try to jump scare old people, absolutely. Okay, so rises intransitive, which to deceive somebody, to trick somebody, to play a hoax on somebody. Okay, so I better get going here. We can, must, should, may fear that by saying no, we are somehow suggesting the other person is themselves immoral or selfish. Okay, so Valentine goes for may. So does Ronan, Maria, Count Beauty, Abira, Vladimir, Sultan, Manji. Deepti goes for should, Sherwin for may. Arise. Arise, Diabolo, Lord of Terror. Okay, but let's see. This is something that the Queen says when she makes you a knight or a lord. She takes a sword and she bangs it on each of your shoulders on your head, and she says, I name you Lord something. Please arise, Lord. And this is the meaning, to arise, to stand up. to raise doubts. Absolutely, Maria. So, left for right for May, chili for must, Maria, yeah, doubts, to raise doubts. Left for right for April, okay. Jagged for May, Anna for May, Renyard for May, Magedo for May, here. A word themselves, huh? Okay, yeah. So, carouse, yeah, I hadn't thought of that one. So, we can fear. Can here talks about ability. So we have the ability to fear that by saying no. But this here, this sentence is talking about possibility. We can, must, should, may fear that by saying no, the possibility exists. We are somehow suggesting that the other person is themselves immoral or selfish. Notice this. This is just adding emphasis that we're talking about the other person. It's not a true reflexive. Okay, so Ahmad goes for should. Yeah. Okay, so we must fear. We have an obligation, a very strong obligation. We should fear. This again is talking about obligation. No, may. May, it talks about the possibility that something exists. Good evening, Vuslat. Okay, so, yes. May for Ronan, May for Paul, and it's good to have you back, VG. Yeah, July, so left right keeps going. Yeah, May Day, it's a holiday, so we may fear. Yes, may, it says the possibility exists, the possibility of something exists, yeah? Can talks about ability. We must fear. This is an obligation. We should fear is also an obligation. Good to have you back, Tomek. Okay, so yes, now it's time to move on to the next one. Let's see if you can have the ability to do it. This was not an isolated incident. Another of Bohns' studies found people were willing to falsify, adulterate, juggle, bend, delude academic documents upon a simple request from a stranger. And she found similar patterns of using an online platform in which participants had to consider their reactions to various scenarios. So, good evening, Vuslat. Themself is formal. No. Let's see. While we're at it, I'll give you a little thing. So, themself. So, I myself scratched myself. Okay, myself. Let's see. You can use self to talk about emphasis of a subject. You can use self to talk about emphasis of an object. I myself did it. That's emphasis of the subject. He gave it to the king himself. Okay, or the queen herself. That herself is emphasizing the object. But the real reflexive, I scratched myself, where the subject and the object are the same. Okay, so Count goes for falsify. Sherwin goes for falsify. Yes, well, but that's left right's way. Left right goes for falsify. Chili for delude. Anna G for falsify. Vladimir for falsify. Abira for falsify. Ronan for falsify. Part 4 goes for adulterated. How to improve your listening skills. Listen and listen and listen, Jagged. So Alex DeCabs goes for falsify. Themselves. Deepti goes for delude, juggle. Just used for the method of exception. Maria goes for falsify. Okay, yes, because So Renyard goes for juggle because everyone else has chosen something else. Maria and Paul go for falsify. Emin for juggle. Yes, there is no such word as that themself. Well, I'm not so sure, because you know the way we use he and she, we use they. There's a person on the phone, and that it appears they are talking to themselves, because this is only one person, Ronan. But generally you're right. Yes? Okay, when we're using them to avoid he and she, then you can use themselves. So, juggle for Emin, and Jagged goes for delude, Vuslat goes for falsify, Sultan says plagiarize, Kate for bend, his self. But okay, his self. I think his self. He gave it to his self. No, it's got to be himself. Manji for juggle, and Pepax goes for must. Okay, but that's the previous one. It's May in the previous one, Pepax. Okay, so an academic document. So to juggle is where you've got 3 balls and you throw them in the air. Or maybe I can juggle things around so that I could give you class tomorrow morning. To bend. No, you bend the rules. To delude is to trick someone, to make somebody believe something that's not true. He deluded himself that his English was the best in the world. To adulterate means to add something to something that's pure, to reduce the purity of something, to add something bad to it. No, so to falsify. Yeah, to make false. You falsify a document. The student is proud of himself on graduation. Okay, so good evening, Furkan. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Absolutely, fear does not exist. You're adulterating this class. No, you're a very positive impact on it. Yeah, you're a positive, lively thing. It's great to have you here, Left for Right. I love having you here. Yeah, you're always making jokes, which is a good thing. Okay, so seven for naught so far to Ronan. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next one. Yeah, no, we love having left for right. It's no adulteration at all. Emin says falsify, and falsify is the right thing. When you were a kid, did you ever falsify your mum or your dad's signature on your report and give it back to the teacher? Yeah? To falsify, to make something false. Okay. And let's continue. The subjects reported they would be more comfortable committing a an the nothing unethical act if someone told them to do so. Okay, so if somebody tells them do something unethical, then they do it. So, left for right is full of shenanigans. Absolutely, Sherwin. But that's the way he is. So, Anne for Tomek, Count, Kate, Deepty, Vibes, Valentine, Pepax. It brings a tear to my eye, probably like a crocodile tear. Anne for Ronan. Voltaire goes Anne. Good evening, Voltaire. Good to see you. Vladimir goes for Anne. Misato for Anne. Anna G for Anne. Emin, Maria, Sherwin. Okay. Anne unethical, Renyard. Anne for Chile as well. Very definitely. An unethical act. Okay. So notice Anne, not a, not because this is a vowel, but because it's a vowel sound. An unethical. Yes. For example, an A, a B, a C, an E, an F. Notice. So, but it's an act. Yeah, this is referring to an act. So yes, and okay, and for so the for Sultan, and for Paul, and Abira and Mani, and part 4, and for Vuslat. Okay, yes, that's very good. Some people have real difficulty with these articles, yeah, and yeah, definite and indefinite articles can be quite a difficult thing to resolve. It isn't because the next word starts with a vowel, it's with a vowel sound, exactly, left or right. A useless piece of thing, a year, a university, exactly, because they both start with Y. Absolutely, Vibes. Thank you for the examples. So, Vibe says, yet. Aside, apart, beside, while, yet. They consistently underestimated how much their own words could influence someone else's decision. So we've got seem to have a landslide for yet from Vibes, Tomek, Shamburun, from Kate, from Vladimir, from Count, from Deepti, from Abira, and part 4 says aside. Chili goes for aside as well. Oh, so Chili goes for yet as well. So does Ronan, Mani, Vuslat, Voltaire, and Emin. So let's see. Aside, well, no, aside from that, apart from that, beside, no, beside means next to, it would need an S, besides, while, but you need something before this while, definitely yet, means however in this context. Names, it's very difficult, Vibes. If you don't have articles in your native language, it's really hard. So let's see. Well, let's look at the previous. Told to do an unethical act. While they consistently underestimated. Now, I think yet is much better because it's talking about however. Yeah. So people influence. While, moreover is quite a good word actually there, Valentine. And Anna G and Maria goes for yet as well. Yeah, Finland, the land of the Finns. I bet Left Right's going to make some sort of joke now. Okay, the UK, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But the Kingdom of, where you got the word kingdom, the United Kingdom, then it goes. Here. We need a contradiction for while, absolutely. We need some sort of contradiction. That's good, part 4. Well done. Here. And it's got a comma. Yeah, exactly. That's very good, Vibes. So, we'll do another one in second. Yeah, while they consistently, while, yet, however. However would fit there nicely. And someone said moreover as well, Valentine, which is a good word to fit there. So, why could this be? Bohns now suggests that people often comply with our requests due to a fear of disagreement. We're a social species and we don't want to do things that risk damaging our relationships, she says. In particular, we may fear that by saying no, we are somehow suggesting that the other person is themselves. Notice themselves here, because it's just one person, but themselves saying, is it masculine or feminine? You can't use themselves here. Immoral or selfish, leading them to lose, miss, forfeit, sacrifice, forego, face. A phenomenon known as insinuation anxiety. Okay, this is a collocation. There's only one word. Olutupi. I wonder what that is. So, Tom X says loose face, so does Vladimir Valentin count beauty. Una cerveza. Una cerveza, por favor. Okay, that sounds like Latin American Spanish, Maria. Okay, Ronan, to lose face. Vuslat, lose face. Rainyard, lose face. No, the end of the world. Okay. Left or right for lose face. Manji for lose face. Voltaire and Emine as well. Absolutely. So, clearly, that's the right answer. To miss. No, you don't miss face. You miss the bus. You miss your aeroplane. Or you miss home when you're away from home. To forfeit is when you have something taken away from you. You forfeit your right to something. Yeah? If you arrive late for lunch, then you forfeit your right for lunch. To sacrifice is to give something for some benefit for yourself or another person. To lose. And to forego, without the E, notice it's not forego, it's forego, means to go before. So, yeah, you should always let a lady forego you. Okay. So, to forego is to go before. It would be forego face. I guess forego, if it had an E, would work. But here the collocation is to lose face. So, let's see. Lose face for Manji, Voltaire, Emine, Abira. Mani goes for forego. In the Russian language, it's the same word construction. That's okay, yes, but that's it. That's interesting as well. Sheramburum. Okay, Magedo goes for lose face. Lose face. This is the collocation. It's one you've got to learn, Chile. Beer in Finnish. Okay. I bet you know beer in 107 different languages, left or right. Manji, themself is unique to me. Okay, my bad. No problem. I like that phrase, my bad. Alex the Cabs uses lose. Paul uses lose. Vibes lose face, to have your reputation tainted. Yes. To lose for Maria, ladies first, forego without the E. A jar of beer. Okay, thank you, Vibes. Okay, that's to have your reputation tainted. Yeah, to have it made dirty. Good evening, Lavinia. It's ages since we've seen you. It's great to have you here. How's your English going? So yes, to lose face is a very important thing. It's important to let people keep face. So notice, to keep face is the opposite of to lose face. It will help me reach 100k earlier. Maybe. Yes. Okay. Thank you. And so, yes, to lose face or to keep face. Yeah, if people lose face, then it's very difficult to negotiate with them. Okay, they need to keep face. So let's continue. Okay, and I've made a mistake here as well. So it would make it really clumsy, inept, gauche, awkward, uncoordinated. So awkward, uncoordinated for both people, says Bohns. So we might hint that we don't feel comfortable with something, but it's a lot harder to actually come out and say, no, I'm not going to do it. Yeah? So it's one thing feeling uncomfortable about it, but it's much harder to say, I'm not going to do it. So Valentine, it's wonderful to have you, Lavinia. So Valentine goes for awkward, so does Kate. Part 4 goes for clumsy, and we're going to get some more answers in a second, I'm absolutely sure. Ronan for clumsy, Ronan for awkward, Count for clumsy, Lavinia for I keep saying clumsy, don't I? So Ronan, Lavinia for awkward. Voltaire tries gauche, And Renyard says awkward and gauche. And Amin goes for awkward, Chili for awkward, Magda for awkward as well, and so does Sherwin for awkward. So, if something's uncoordinated, I am very uncoordinated. Yeah, I can trip over my own feet. Yeah, so it's not uncoordinated. I'm very clumsy as well. I drop things. So clumsy, no. If somebody's inept, they're really bad at things. Yeah. Clumsy and awkward caught you. Okay, so awkward for Magedo, Abira, and Vusla and Paul. Would make it gauche. Gauche doesn't fit. If somebody is gauche, it's describing their character. But both people might feel gauche, yeah? But to be gauche or to make it really gauche, no, this doesn't work. Gauche describes a person or making a faux pas or doing something that's socially unacceptable. We need this word awkward. Yeah, it's talking about a difficulty. Okay, Deep Tea, great to have you. Thanks for coming. Come again next time. And so, yeah, awkward for Vuslat, Paul, and Maria. I think awkward fits, yes. It would make it really awkward. It talks about the situation. Yeah, it is awkward. The situation is awkward. Whereas a person is gauche or commits some sort of gaucherie. Yeah, I had a video about this the other day. Yeah, okay, so yes, awkward. If something's awkward, it's uncomfortable, it's difficult, it doesn't work very well, it doesn't go together. Okay, so let's try the next one then. Okay, this is the reality. When we're asked to predict how someone will react to a request, however, we discount, we ignore, we don't think about their fear of embarrassment and assume the other person would be more courageous than they really are, which leads us to underestimate our potential power to persuade others to act against their better character, personality, nature, or makeup. So, to act against their better character, personality, nature, makeup. Okay, so this is saying when we ask someone to do something, we don't think about the fact that they might find it difficult to say no because they don't want to create a difficult situation. And it's easy for them to say, well, I don't really. But it's much harder for them to say no, directly, no, I don't want to do it. So, left right goes for character, Tomek for nature, boom, left right. Count Beauty for nature, Valentine for personality, Manji for character, Vladimir for nature. Good evening, Oksana, great to see you, and nature. Sherwin for nature, Lavinia for nature, Kate for nature, Ronan, Emin, Vuslat for nature. Persona works very nicely, part 4. Personality may work. Okay. Makeup is the lipstick, for example. Manny for nature and Abira for nature. Against their better personality. I think this is probably a collocation as well. So, Manny and Abira for nature. And so does Renyard as well. Okay, it's against his better nature. Yeah, it's something that you don't think is what you really want to do. Yeah, because his better nature says that he oughtn't to do this. So their better personality. I think if we're saying their better personality, we're giving the idea that this person is schizophrenic and they have two minds. They have a good one and a bad one. Well, maybe we do. Their better character. I guess they have a worse character. I suppose we are different people in different things, but no. against one's better nature. So, I will help you, but it's against my better nature. Stick together, eh? Okay. Character is correct no matter what they tell us. It's better nature. I'm sorry, left, right, but you can ignore it. Okay, Alex the Cabis goes for personality. Have faith. No, the answer is better nature. This is against his better nature. I agreed to do it against my better nature. Yeah? Yes, so this is an act that is against somebody's better nature. It's against what you think is right, or what you would normally do, or what you think is the right thing to do. So naturally he's very mean, and he never gives money to beggars, but against his better nature he gave the beggar £1. Against my will, yes, against my better nature. So it's not really what I want to do. It's better nature. Something is against your better nature. It's not what you would do naturally. Yeah? Okay, so this is against their better nature. They naturally don't want to do bad things, but against their better nature, they agree to do it. Okay, just a few more and then we are finished. So, yes, it's against my better nature to, I don't know, to be rude to students or to be very serious with them. Yeah, it's much easier to be friendly. So, the next one, what character I like. This is a very important concept as well. Leave room for refusal. When you ask somebody for something, give them the possibility to say no. Against their better judgment, that's a really good collocation, left or right. Yeah, it's against my better judgment. It's against my better nature. So it's a good thing to, when you ask people for things or to do things, make it easy for them to say no. This is much more polite. This is part of politeness theory. Bohns believes that our tendency to underrate our influence is very relevant in the workplace. If you ask a colleague to do you a favor by cutting edges, corners, angles, curves, areas in their work, for example, you may assume that they can just refuse, but their fear of creating awkwardness could prevent them from doing so. So this is definitely a collocation. And Lavinia says cutting edges, Leferite says cutting corners, Vladimir says cutting edges, Valentine says corners, Manji says edges, Leferite tells her no, Oksana goes for corners, Count Beauty goes for corners, Tomek says cutting corners, Part 4 cutting edges, Voltaire cutting corners, and Renyard goes for edges, and Sherwin for corners, Manny for edges, Emin for corners. Oops. You've got it now, Manji. Cut corners. Okay. Let's see. Cut corners. Absolutely, Sherwin. Vuslak goes for edges. So, to cut this here, this is a collocation. To cut corners. This is like you're have to run round a football pitch, and the coach says run round 20 times. If you cut the corners, you go straight across the corner rather than the whole long way round, it's much easier. To cut corners is to economize, is not to do things, is to be lazy. Yeah? Cut corners. This is a definite collocation. Yeah? Yeah, one of the ways to reduce a budget is to cut corners, reduce the quality, for example. That's a set collocation, cut corners, absolutely, Oksana, because it's not cut edges, it's cut corners. Let's see, Lavinia, cut edges is perfectly logical. Oh wow, Nasruddin, I love the name. As Nasruddin is one of my favourite characters in stories. So let's see, to cut corners, as Maria Mikkonen says, to economize, to cut corners. Yeah, it's not edges, it's not angles, it's not curves. Cut corners. You've got to learn this collocation. Yes, left or right. Okay, so everybody, this is the last one. Nasruddin. I love Nasruddin. He's really funny. Take a shortcut, but somehow not an honest way. Exactly, Oksana. That's the idea. To put some strings. To pull some strings. Munch chocolates while studying. It sounds lovely, munching chocolates. Okay, the last question. To round corners. You cut them, yeah, to economize in a sort of underhand way. So the final question. It's worth emphasizing that these are general patterns. Individual differences in people's influence and their perception of that power will, of course, depend on many grounds, items, strands, factors, facts, roles, and the specific context of the situation. Okay, so Chile's still with cut corners, but that's the right answer. So factors for Valentin, Vladimir, Kate, left or right, Lavinia, Abira, Vuslat. Factors, baby, for Nasruddin as well. Yeah, I still have to say Nasruddin's one of my favourite stories. Yeah, he's got brilliant ones. Manji goes for factors. Sherwin says grounds. So grounds are the reason why you do something. So we had to cut corners on grounds of lack of budget. Yeah. On what grounds? On what the reason for something. Yeah, the grounds are the reason why you do something. Yeah. What are your grounds for this court case? The grounds are the justification for something. Okay, and factors for Count Emin. Factors for Count Emin, Alex Dakabis. Factors for Oksana, Manny, Reynard, Maria. Factors, the fudge factor. Absolutely, left or right. Cutting corners. Going through the motions. Yes, without doing it properly. Yeah, dangerous ground. But the grounds for something, the grounds for divorce, the grounds for a decision, the justification for it. So it's not grounds. On many items, well, there are 20 items on my list. Paul goes for factors, strands. Strands are individual threads, a strand of hair. Factors, very definitely. On many facts, I suppose, but no, facts. A fact is something that's true. And many roles, no. To take shortcuts, to cut corners. That's absolutely right, Jerem. Good to have you here. Thank you for your adding that. So, will of course depend on many factors. Absolutely. So, thank you very much for coming, all of you. It's been great to have you. You've been a wonderful crowd as always. Yes, Chile. Factors is the right answer. Inshallah, I will be back with you next week at the same time. I have every intention to be. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming. It's been great. Stay safe. You're a wonderful group. And I will see you all next week. I'll leave the chat on for a little bit so that you can chat amongst yourselves, and then I'll cut it off. So, thank you for coming. Many roles is the grounds for divorce. Wow, Sherwin, thank you. You're always such a generous guy. There's very little I can say. So, okay, is we are English, or to I swear by English, or you could swear in English. The bees are still fine, left or right. It's cold and nasty out there, and they are hiding away. I will see you all next week, so thank you all very much. Take care, look after yourselves. You're a wonderful group, and thank you again, Sherry.